Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, Steve. Thank you for joining us. This webinar is about integrating ALM tools. I'm glad and thankful for Mr. Steve Speiser that joined us. Steve is an expert. He participated in the OSLC technical committee. Chief Architect for OSLC and Rational, and participate in the W3C Link Data Platform Working Group. Yoram Bachelor, I'm the CEO of ManageWare. Can you hear us well? Yeah. So with Steve's permission, I asked it before. I'll switch to Hebrew for just a few slides of the introduction, and then we'll move into Steve's a little bit of time at the end for question and answers. Everyone feel free to send questions using the chat, and we'll repeat it and ask you. אז אינטגרציות. אנחנו בתור חברת ייעוץ ואינטגרציה, אנחנו נתקלים המון בבקשות מאיתנו לעשות אינטגרציות בין כלים. דוגמאות, אבל דוגמה מאוד נפוצה זה לחבר בין הקוד שהמפתחים מפתחים לבין ה-Defects שעושים, לחבר את ה-Work Items במערכות ניהול תצורה לדיווחי שעות, למערכות לדיווחיות, ל-MS Project, כמובן Flexibility, חיבור בין דרישות, בין מסמכים, בסגנון ה-DevOps העכשווי, חיבור בין אינסידנט של CRM שמגיעים מעולם ה-Operations ל-Defects שאתם רואים, והדרישות האלה הן כמעט אינסופיות. וגם עוד דבר הוא שכל אינטגרציה גם יכולה להיות אינסופית, יש המון שיטות לעשות אינטגרציה, ולכן חשבנו שזה רעיון טוב לעשות וובינר, אולי יהיה הוובינר הראשון בנושא שלנו. יש במסך אוסף של כלים נפוצים שאנחנו רואים אצל לקוחות, והאינטגרציות נעות בין כמה בספקטרום שלם. ספקטרום אחד זה לעשות אינטגרציה ידנית, מישהו פשוט רואה מספר של הדיפקט במערכת הדיפקטים, מוסיף את זה כהערה בקוד שהוא מפתח, והנה עשינו אינטגרציה ידנית. מעבר לזה יש סקריפטים, בדרך כלל סקריפטים באצ'ים שרצים מדי פעם ומסנכרנים דברים. נתקלים המון במקומות שבונים אינטגרציות מין do it yourself בבית, בעזרת סקריפטים, בעזרת Jira, .NET למיניהם, ובדרך כלל אינטגרציות שהן peer to peer, הן מאוד מאוד customized לצרכים בארגון. זאת אומרת, יש הרבה חברות מסחריות שזיהו את הפוטנציאל, כך שיש לא מעט כלי אינטגרציה לתחום ה-ALM, שפשוט כלים שבאים עם כל מיני פלאגינים לכלים נפוצים, ומסת האינטגרציה בין הכלים האלה, וכמובן נתקלנו בכמה וכמה ארגונים בטכנולוגיות כלליות של אינטגרציה, כמו WebSphere למשל, שמשתמשים בהם גם לצורך הנושא של ה-ALM, לאינטגרציות אחרות כלליות. כן, מי שמתחבר בפרסום רצה יעשה מיוט בטלפון שלו, כי כולם שומעים את זה. המטרה בסופו של דבר היא להוציא את המוצרים נכון בהתאם לדרישות של הלקוח, להוציא אותם מהר כמה שאפשר, ולהוריד את ה-rework, להוריד את הכמות של הדברים לא נכונים שאנחנו עושים במהלך הפיתוח. ככל האנשים יותר טובה, וזה דגש אחד מאוד גדול של Agile Development, האיכות גדלה והמהירות גדלה. ככל מחוברים ביניהם זה גם משפר את אותה תקשורת, וזה גם מאפשר לעשות עוד דשבורדים ובדיקות יחסית אוטומטיות כדי לוודא שכולם מדברים בשפה והדברים מחוברים אחד עם השני. אנחנו נתקלים בדרישות לאינטגרציה כחלק מ-engagement של ייעוץ שאנחנו עושים. מי שלא מכיר, אנחנו חברה של ייעוץ ואינטגרציה שמתמחה כבר הרבה מאוד שנים בתחום ה-ALM וכלי ALM, ואנחנו נותנים נקרא ALM Assessment, שבו אנחנו נותנים לארגון שמשתמש בדרך כלל בהרבה מאוד כלים ובמקומות מסוימים ללא כלים בכלל, ואנחנו בצורה מאוד מובנית חושבים איך אפשר לשפר את תהליך הפיתוח, את התהליך של ה-delivery של המוצר. אנחנו עושים בצורה מובנית עם שאלונים, וכמעט החלק גדול מהזמן הוא על איזה כלים משתמשים, איזה כלים רוצים, ואת מה לחבר למה. אחד הנפוצים מאוד שאנחנו גם אומרים ונותנים את התפיסתם ב-ALM Assessment זה לכלים שכבר נמצאים בארגון ומיטב. הכלים האלה, וזה כלים וחיים שיוצאים להם עדיין עדכונים בצורת הדיעה, וזה כלים טובים. בדרך כלל יש לנו המלצה לנסות להישאר עם הכלים האלה. הצד השני של המטבע זה ללכת לכלים שהם אינטואיטיביים, שבאים עם כל הדברים end-to-end. הכלים האלה בדרך כלל מאפשרים לקחת מודולים מסוימים ומודולים אחרים לא לקחת, ועד לעשות אינטגרציה לכלים שכבר קיימים ומושכים בארגון. יש לנו את כל הכלים מחוברים, אנחנו יכולים לקבל דשבורדים, יכולים לקבל קורלציה בין נתונים ממחלקות שונות ומפעילויות שונות של בעלי תפקידים שונים בארגון. מספק לנו יכולת גם כן לעשות החלטות הרבה יותר נבונות, למשל לדעת מה הגרסה שלי, ממה שהתחייבנו ללקוח אנחנו עומדים בזמנים שלו, כמה אפשר שלי בדוק או לא בדוק, כמה הוא יציב, איפה יש לי צווארי בקבוק. ברגע שהם מחוברים אחד לשני, הרבה יותר קל לי לקבל את הנתונים ובאמת להסתמך עליהם בקבלת ההחלטות שלו. אנחנו מתעסקים ב-ALM וב-DevOps. אם ALM בדרך כלל דיבר על זה שהוא מתעסק רוב עד שלב הזה שבו אנחנו עושים את ה-deployment, עד שאנחנו משחררים את והרבה מאוד שנים עסקנו בחיבור ה-Product Management וה-PMOs או ה-Release Manager לבין המפתחים לניהול התצורה, version control ו-build automation. שבקבוצות עדיות הם חלק מהקבוצה, בהרבה ארגונים אחרים זה קבוצה אחרת. זה שנמצא כאן בתוך העיגול הסמלי הוא בדרך כלל נותן הרבה מאוד benefits לארגון, מהר מאוד. אם אנחנו מסתכלים היום על עולם ה-DevOps, החיבור של מה קורה אחרי הסיס, מה קורה עם קריאות הספורט, מה קורה עם מוניטורינג של המערכת בפרודקשן, אנחנו מדברים על מערכות בדרך כלל, כל הדברים מתחברים ביחד. כמנג'וור, כאינטגרטור, אספנו אוסף מאוד מיוחד לפי דעתנו ומוביל כלים שמדברים, הם אינטגרייטד ביחד ויכולים לספק את הדברים מקצה לקצה. אבל כמובן אנחנו נתקלים המון בארגונים שבהם חלק מהדברים כבר קיים, עובדים היטב, ואז אנחנו נדרשים לבנות את האינטגרציה לשם. אנחנו ניגשים גם להטמעות וגם להסתכלות הזאת על אינטגרציות, שאת האינטגרציות עושים בדרך כלל בסוף. יש לנו שיטת אימפלמנטציה של 4 וייבים, והווייב הראשון אומר שא' שכולם יעבדו בכלים, לנסות להוציא את העבודה הידנית שאפשר ועבודה באיים כמה שאפשר, להתרכז ולשפר קצת את איך שאנשים עובדים, ורק אז בתור וייב שלישי לגשת ולהתחיל להתעסק עם האינטגרציות ואיך הדברים מתחברים אחד עם השני, שתספק בסופו של דבר יכולת לעשות measurement. אני מציין את זה? כי אנחנו נתקלנו לא בפרויקט אחד ולא בשניים, שבהם השקענו בדרישת הלקוח המון אנרגיה בשלבים הראשונים של לעשות אינטגרציה בין כלים, וכבר את האנרגיה בשביל להכניס את כולם כלים ובאמת להשתמש בזה. לכן אנחנו כשיטה, זאת נקראת ספינקס, זו שיטה שפיתחנו במשך המון שנים, מדברת על לעשות את האינטגרציות רק בשלישי, ורק לקבוצות שאותן צריך לעשות את האינטגרציה. אז נתחבר עכשיו, אני רק מוסיף את זה עוד פעם, כדי לאפשר למי שלא יתחבר דרך הטלפון להתחבר. And with this, I'm transferring it to you, Steve. Okay.
Thank you. I'm starting now. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. I just want to speak a bit about around the context of sort of setting up tools have started rooted and taking a look back, maybe 50 days are just sort of random at one is it was driven by the processes by which software development was done, how applications were built, with fall approaches, you were focused on the various silos and different falls of handoffs between, and so a lot of folks have individual and that would work well those individuals. So folks for configuration, improving around branching and merging and flowing from different sizes of teams, and defect improvements on the different information about the type of thing that is done, and then like one in requirements management. But when there's between these things, oftentimes it was through handoff, where you would export them out of the tool into some format, some separated values, some custom XML format, or what in them into the work tracking system, so that you can do the work from. Likewise, that would get imported into some type of testing tool to then be able to build cases, maybe some automation to information exporting using or capabilities that these individuals. If you did together, oftentimes it was very specific vendor supplied integration that would only work between those two tools. And oftentimes, it was and speak. We've done that it had some problems, the scalability and flexibility of upgrading between those two different tools, because it was a level private API way of integrating things together. Evolved, taking years after that, we said, well, have traceability between all the different tools, all the different facts within, and the way was to try to build this this malware or some piece of glue that would suite that would tap into these tools, specific APIs. They're not just such as SOAP, but often was Perl or Java or all these different things, and so extremely I use quite a bit of end-to-end tracing, but Agile is really prone to different states. As soon as you wanted to independently, one of the tools you often would break the entire system, so it would require you to upgrade next, then that would require you to upgrade. The often teams got into this lot of upgrade nothing because coupling. The user then to get some value out of this tools, as new rolled out that had improvements around maybe performance, different capabilities that your would be blocked by being able to pull a. And there was a growing that will be so as companies got bigger, teams got bigger, more software was being developed, a different set of tools being used for that. Partially, labels that they had, everyone had their favorite thing before, because of position. Sometimes new tools don't have a choice for that. That were, the decision and have a completely different stack of tools that you need to integrate in. So there's challenges that came in with this approach. This around just taking and building some management piece of glue that had some would go building out some type of enterprise service bus and trying to connect those became maybe quite heavy, quite costly. Still required a fair amount of customization to be able to integrate the very. And so did problems with these type of these integrations, but a fair number of complex maintenance around ability to upgrade and abilities around how you gather information between tools and correlate them didn't as well as needed. So a lot of specialized reporting information. So looking, within Rational and also with a number of our partners and some customers, we looked at the problem and said, well, what's a that we should really solve this problem? And we said, well, let's how in place looking around to see what else has been done and how different things have worked. And the web and the way information is linked from one web to another, one server to another, based upon the way this data is linked together and the integration approach, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And we do this. It needs some standardization to clarify what we mean by doing it this way. So, started up a community called OSLC and did the sort of specifications, which stands for Open Software Lifecycle Collaboration. And more about it and what applications exist and whatnot at open-services.net. Type of approach that there's some type of cost. These tools weren't a lot of tools built natively with this concept in mind. A lot of them already have a web presence, a web dialogues or REST or some type of interfaces. So the ability to evolve, which we did within the products, or onto some existing tools, which you can been done by a number of other tooling, and we'll talk a bit about more learn and see off of that. But if you the tools have the appropriate extensibility interfaces, it's really hard test management tool hold defect repository that supports OSLC, because it doesn't allow to talk about OSLC. Some challenges there where you would have that capability exist, but the code of the individual vendor. Next on slide 5 on how it fits together. Flow here, a scenario within you're working type of requirements tool to really train and refine with the code by define a number of requirements, user stories, put them together in some type of maybe requirements, and then you're saying, this next sprint or this iteration we'd like to do. So you want to then or create task for implementation in a different some type of planning or change management tool. And then you also want to build out what you're doing for quality and building out test, whether it be manual, automated, and just between that. So following this different size interfaces and this web style of integration, you can have this sort of loose covenants. So you are leveraging, say, some tool from a specific vendor like IBM that you have as your requirements tool. You have Team Concert and Plan and source code and leverage the Quality Center, because oftentimes people have an investment already in an existing, maybe it's your own homegrown quality tool using some type of adapter, which there's an adapter available from IBM or some from partners. You can then link in the information out of Quality Center cases or the requirements throughout the different life cycle. We'll take a sample here around which was just talked about a little bit ago, and we're learning and applying and doing much more with. But common is being able to link. You have a in it. So example is your monitoring tool or something is reporting some repeated crashes or problems with an application in production. So you realize this probably requires in order to do it, not as operations or some administration. All I can to tweak the plan and refer to that, and it just won't fix the problem. So the ability that ticket and report, and then being able to some type of defect with development, and then you can go all the way through to either it's deployed environment and into repository and be picked up for deployment. So keep around following the full life cycle there. The various ways of looking in as we're looking at how you test certain things you have built is developed. Ability is then put out to some type of virtualization to mimic permanent environment, and also to allow, plugins to your own audit services or another third party. So that type of flexibility between different example of products that have some support today, but there's, that's highlighting that you could these open connections, the ability to pull in additional tooling to do if you have that deployed or have a need for that. So what the approach is, and I'm going to talk about the integration approaches of REST-style APIs. This automatically or using a back of getting over HTTP interface. So really simple interface around how you get an initial bug as opposed to make it a bug free and get back some type of run AL, JSON, XML request in some defined system ways to what that means. When you do something for not just such as an individual resource, but something that's a list of them, so, a bunch of things, and then follow consistent pattern log. Well, if I all those bug things get there, we can that list by the behavior, which is a common pattern you see within REST API, and the format needed to within that repository to that list of bugs. Some of the simple examples that exist that define the action pattern, but it provides also the flexibility of open to various technologies, so you're not bound to the Java client libraries or JavaScript or anything, just HTTP and some resource formats, and then you can on a sort of that's implementing it. It's just this simple to these standardized at W3C under the linked data platform working group an initiative to take some of the concepts that Tim Berners-Lee defined. In fact, he in his initial view of 25 years ago was about just web pages and reading the link and then understanding it one click. Also something for machines so that information from different and look and have some understanding and then links and then know what links based on that context, what to follow. So on that, general principle and works it in a very clear way. What's important about the data is also, so if I talk from one tool to another tool, or try to fetch information from project management tool, and I see that they have a reference to it talking about the same defects. This style has a mechanism to leverage a web model to via URL and then can easily coordinate data between those two things. Provide semantic meaning to that relationship. So tagging that relationship as something as a depends on application across the different tools. But that a group of people kind of on understanding what some of those relationships and those terms are, and so that's aspects of what we've done within it was is resource definition. So is a change like what are the type of properties does it have. So a simple example here is format that's saying, there's a bug 2314. It's a change to another, and it also implements requirement 56. So the linked model is then we can easily this into this requirement, and we can, and then we can, so it's a, and then I can see also there at the what pieces validating this, so if there's any associated, I can then obviously navigate there to see anything about it or related to it. So are very good if you're operating at a say at a low level and understanding the data model and fetching back and forth. Actually, patterns just want to embed a little bit of user interface. These often have a dialogue for creating a resource or a dialogue to put in enough information to find it. So we defined some simple mechanisms to be able to share this that type of, for an example, scales of requirement. You would have to build up a presentation on that, load the full HTML page information, but instead it's quite useful to stay within the context of the tool and just get a kind of a tool tip or that URL, that resource there. So we have a simple mechanism to do that. In addition, there's being able to select and create resources. These links are important. But it's difficult to maintain, create with labels because the rules are so complex and what it means to create something or even find things. So we have a concept of dialogues. So this allows you to delegate complexity and let who knows how to build up the right, we can put the right field dependencies and checks. And then once that's done, the tool for the dialogue, it waits to hear an event from that dialogue saying, it's done. And once it gets a message that that dialogue's done, it also receives a URL of that resource did or created. So that's by which we expand various, such as the W standards, to problems around ALM tool integration in a lightweight way, leveraging web standard, HTML5, etc. So we have we're standardized and come together and solve some of these problems at an organization called OASIS. Within the OSLC member section and supporters, co-founders that exist. Technical committees, what is the specifications, or what are the specifications of the problems that as well as their customers, as well as customers, and participate in these groups as well to the future of these institutions are. So I've left some at the end questions. I've here's some everything as far as OSLC, a lot of information is rooted off open-service.net. much about all around Eclipse IO, which is one of a few source projects on helping of OSLC, there's providers or consumers to get their job done. So it provides job SDK for building either clients or consumers or for applications. If those server applications understand there's implementations that exist. The bugs we have is the most complete round Excel, an interesting one where someone's using has some consume within Excel of various information. There's a number of other projects. There's on CodePlex. There's .NET that does something similar to the Java API on W3C standardization around the linked data platform. So one of those topics and give you some.
So if is interested in asking a question, please feel free to use the WebEx chat capability. I would like to ask the first question. What of the integration? There are business partners that their business is to provide integrations like Tasktop and Cover and OpsHub and various more providers that their business to build integrations. In this OSLC world, is it going to be necessary or is it becoming?
There's and Cover have been involved in OSLC standardization for some time. There's they specifically do support a hybrid model where they have this bus information through that is synced between different tools. Middleware, they expose it as an OSLC provider, so it's a door for different type of integrations. Things that helps them by continue to be provide that type of solutions. They do a common data model. Start working with the type of information sources that we've defined. Spend a lot, I would say, in trying to convert tools or in-house to a consistent model, and then trying to transform that throughout the system or try to provide a common information that people often want to report. And I think that support this approach all tomorrow is unlikely. That some out of the vendor integrations, and I think that's what customers are asking for. With those type of are to provide value, in existing tools that don't have those native interfaces, like they've done in the past, and on top of those type of solutions to help manage operations for what information is needed for reporting.
Between using this technology and, for example, using something like a WebSphere or some IT integration technology, because you encounter a system where they already have this to integrate ERP with their CRM, and rises up. Why not use the same thing for integrating the ALM tool as well? Why to go to a different approach?
There's a couple of different ways to look at that. I mean, I think I've seen a similar thing in working with a number of customers. You just, what are the scenarios you're looking to support, what you currently have deployed, and what to do. There's, they already have a pretty big investment on it, ESP, and Farrell, and is along supporting that. So it seems like a natural fit for them to pull that. It's something they have to take on to continue to maintain. Flip side of some of the maintenance on it, maybe provide a bit more real time or tool to tool base that can make it plug into tool. It's like that. Advantages of taking it, a either style or a hybrid where the service, you're connecting as they have your REST interfaces, but you could standardize through and this is that OSLC supports as well. But I guess there's no clear. It often depends on from the full spectrum of if you're already deployed and invested, then people will want to get you down that route. If you're looking to build out architecture going forward, have an integration problem, then I think in some you can out those options to see what they can that would do, the type of tool, and then kind of make a decision for that.
Mm-hmm. Have a question? Steve, if you can transfer the to share with the participants some of the resources. If you go to our website under things and there are two very nice videos there. One of them is the general OSLC video that shows what is the need and what is the view of OSLC, which we just learned in depth from Steve. Another an example of using OSLC to build applications that one of the ManageWare engineer built and recorded, just to show what see how it is used and how to use the protocol in order to build an integration between two tools. It's a very bit long, but you can see some examples. In getting a list of resources that are relevant to building integrations, can send us an email, and we're happy to provide this. The ALM assessment process is also a video here and of the process of what is the assessment and how we go and try to build this integrate to what and how to integrate the things together. Okay. This webinar was recorded, so we edit it a little bit and send everyone a recording of this webinar. We'll probably put it on YouTube. Any additional things you would like to add?
That I appreciate having the opportunity to speak. To encourage you to check and possibly to itself that are continuing to go and .NET to see what's going on, what implementations are coming out. And I appreciate the and any feedback or questions, feel free to reach out to me directly.
Thank you very much, Steve, for contributing here and sharing your knowledge. Thank you for participating, and I hope to see you in the next webinar as well. Goodbye.